Welcome back to the CriblCon 25 CriblCast News Desk. My name is Bradley Chambers. Thanks for joining us. Today I have Glenn Block on the show floor. Glenn, what would you say is the vibe here right now? I mean, how exciting is this?
A lot of excitement. Yeah, I think people are really looking at Cribl as charting kind of the next level of where to go with analyzing your data. A lot of excitement about some of the work that we're doing about really trying to get value out of using like AI tools to really help customers do their jobs and more effectively.
Well, no one would think that telemetry data management is easier in 2025 versus say 2015, and I think we could all argue that it's going to get more and more complex over time. So we need our tools to kind of keep up and really start working for us. And one of your expertises is on Cribl's REST Collector, and it's a great way to pull in data once it's configured. So
that's the key one. Once it is configured.
It's always like the asterisk.
Or maybe we should say if.
So I know your session is all about that today, and you'll be, customers will be able to watch that on demand. What's the most common challenge users face when configuring it?
Well, I think one thing is just knowing where to get started. I want to get some data in. In order to get data into Cribl, you have a whole bunch of challenges. And so first is like figuring out what are all the things I have to do and contend with, which may vary depending on the types of data. I mean, like where is the data located? Like REST Collector is based on API endpoints. Where is the endpoint? How do I talk to it? How do I authenticate? I mean, a lot of the major issues happen of just, can I make a connection at all? So that's a big thing. And then how do I get the data in? How do I make sure it's coming in the right format? So those are major challenges. I think every time a customer is trying to onboard new data, they go through this whole process. But then the second problem I think that customers have is, so there's the first time anybody has attempted to bring a certain type of data into Cribl. And several years ago, we introduced these GitHub templates, which provide like a repository where, hey, we figured out how to get Okta, so let's give you the instructions of how to do that so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But there's a bunch of manual steps in doing that. You have to know that that repo exists. There's nothing in the product that guides you to that path. It's really like word of mouth, maybe go to our Slack group, maybe somebody did a blog post. And then there's a bunch of manual steps that it's error prone. What if I do the wrong thing? All I have to do is the problem I think with data collection often is just, it's kind of like directions, like you're driving on a map. All you have to do is take one wrong turn, you won't get to the destination. When you're trying to bring data in, if there's 10 things you need to do and one you did wrong, the data's not coming in. So I think that, those are common things. Another common problem is diagnostics. Like when things fail, and that's not something we're addressing in our talk, but it is definitely a big problem that customers have of like, I'm trying to authenticate to this thing. It works when I use curl or Postman. Why doesn't it work with the REST collector? And it's hard to get visibility into like why things are actually failing, which is something that we do want to improve.
I'm a huge fan of Cribl Packs because I think it's a way for the community to share knowledge together. I think that's one of the things that the IT community is so good at. You could be an IT team at essentially competitors versus another company. If you have company A and company B, they compete for customers. Those IT teams, their enemy is security threats. Their enemy is losing data. So sharing those packs with customers, build up these Cribl Packs and they upload them to the Cribl Pack Dispensary. How do those packs simplify setup and really reduce the need for multiple configurations and kind of can give guardrails against making those mistakes? It's sort of like, hey, I made this mistake once, I'm going to build a pack so no one else makes that mistake.
Correct. That's exactly what the packs will do. It really is going to make it a lot less error prone, but also more discoverable. So what we're doing and what our talk is about is we're now moving in a world where from those GitHub templates, we're actually porting those GitHub templates into packs because we've now opened up support recently in Cribl for the ability to have REST Collector configuration packaged up in a pack. So now, like take that Okta example, whereas before I would have to go to GitHub, find the Okta instructions that were on the repo, copy a bunch of artifacts in. Again, make sure I don't miss any of the steps. I'll be able to just go in the dispensary and see Okta install, and then it will only just prompt me for the variables I need to put in, like I need to put in my authentication token, because that's not going to be built into the pack. And then everything else is ready to go. So it should reduce a lot of the pains. For some of our integrations that are in that GitHub repo, there's up to 30 steps. There's breaker files you have to copy around, there's pipeline things, there's a ton of stuff that could easily, again, you just need to miss one and it's not going to work. And so that will now be just a click install, and then those packs can also get updated, like if there are bugs in the pack. That's another thing. If there's a bug in the GitHub repo and somebody updates it, you now have to go get that updated artifact, do it yourself. Now you'll actually have the ability for that to get updated automatically as part of the packs. So it's going to make it much more discoverable, much easier to get going, and over time, we'll basically get everything that's on that GitHub repo to be in packs, and we're going to add a lot more.
Cribl's products are, I always say this, they're used in some of the most demanding environments in the world. Some of the biggest household name companies, these are very, very complex systems, and the cost of messing something up on a configuration change is massive.
Yes.
I think these updates it really solves that problem of getting it right today, but also if there's enhancements, not even just fixing bugs, but if it makes it better, you can go and grab that. How do you see, when you think about the GitHub repos, you think about the packs, how do you think that changes the day-to-day experience for customers who rely on the REST collector to ingest that data?
Well, one thing I think it's really going to help is people that are new to REST Collector. REST Collector is kind of a dark art. It's a powerful tool, but you're kind of thrown into a cockpit. And so I think it's going to, and that discoverability thing, again, if I just showed up on REST Collector, nothing in the product tells you, go check out our GitHub repo, which maybe we should have added a link to. So it's just not discoverable. Whereas now, it's just going to be much easier. Like, we're putting in our documentation now, like, go to the dispensary, search for this thing. So it's just going to be, I think, a much easier on-ramp to being able to get data in, at least for known things. Obviously, the power of REST Collector is the things that we don't know about, you still might be able to use the REST Collector to get it. And hopefully once you do, then you can package that thing up. The other thing that's really powerful about what we're rolling out, customers can create these packs. So some of our really large customers, they want to take the packs that are on the dispensary, but then they're going to tweak them for their internal needs. And then they can put that in their own location where they can then distribute that, where thousands of worker nodes can be running their own internal configurations where they can just easily deploy through the packs.
So they've essentially forked the pack and made it for their own needs, and they can then say they've essentially got their own internal.
Anybody can author these packs.
What advice would you give to someone who's really avoided the REST collector? Because, when you're dealing with data that's unknown, it can be a challenge to kind of know where to start. And even if Cribl makes it extremely easy, you've got this just green field of data. I kind of don't even know what I need. How someone starting with REST Collector today, what advice would you give them?
Yeah, so one thing I'll do is I'll share with you a link. We're going to share it in our talk, so you can watch our talk. But at the end of our talk, we're going to be sharing a link to a page that has a bunch of resources to get you started with how to use the packs. I would say look to the new packs. Some of the most common ones like Okta that customers have been asking for, Office 365, et cetera. We've taken like the most common that we've started with, and that's going to keep getting better. So I would say, look to the dispensary, look to the packs, look to that document, that page that I will share a link for to get you going, and just know that this is the beginning of something that is going to get better and better.
Well, Glenn, this has been great. We're excited about your talk today. If you want to check out Cribl Packs, they're at packs.cribl.io. Also our docs. One of the things I love about Cribl is that our docs are ungated, so you don't have to sign in. Even if you're just looking at Cribl, you can view those at docs.cribl.io. We're excited about it. Now, before we wrap up...
Wait, let me give one more tip. When you go to the dispensary, if you search with the term REST-IO, you will get the 10 or so new packs, because the dispensary has a lot of stuff. So we've come up with a convention to just make it really easy for customers to say, I just want to see what are the packs for REST Collector, REST-IO. Try it, you'll see. You'll get immediately that list, and as that list grows, that will be the way that you'll be able to find them.
Now, before I let you go, what's your favorite part of CriblCon?
You know, I love the slides this year. I normally wouldn't say that, but the slides are so beautiful and so colorful. It's probably not my favorite part, but of all the conferences I've been to, it really stands out to me how beautiful that is. But I think the other thing is the ability to just connect with customers, hear their stories. Scott Berger from ServiceNow is somebody I've been working a lot with. This is the first time we met in person, and this is somebody who has just been such a champion of our work, you know, both for helping ServiceNow by really bringing Cribl in, and also helping us, and you know, really helping us take our product further.
Well, our CEO, Clint Sharp, often says that software is a people business, and even though, you know, this is some of the most complex technology in the world, it's people using the software, it's people selling the software, people supporting the software, people using it. It's a people business, and be able to connect in person. It makes that, when you're on Zoom next month, it makes it even better.
Exactly.
Again, Glenn, thanks for coming on. Thanks for everybody for watching. We'll be back with more from CriblCon 25.